Hello, creative friends. This is Joy. So, this is part two of a three-part video on creating a lap book. So, here I have the cover already made, which I showed you in part one how I did that. And now I'm trying to figure out what kind of inserts and stuff I want to do on here. So, I wanted to put these file folders on here to make like flaps, but of course, they're too big for the book here, so I'm just trying to figure out, am I going to put them on the inside or the outside of that flap, and how much do I need to cut off. So I cut the bottom off that I need to cut off, and I'm still trying to figure out, do I want them inside, do I want them outside, do I want them to be like two flaps or one flap on either side. How do I want to do this? So what I ended up doing is I started out where I was like, well, I'm just going to put like the flap that has the gosh, what do you call those? A tab on it on the outside of that outer flap on both sides. So I did that and I taped that on. I'm just using packing tape. That seems to work pretty good, and it's clear because obviously I want it to be, I don't want to be able to see that. And then I do the same on the other side, but after I did that, I end up deciding that I wanted to make them both into like a pocket. And so here I'm doing the other side. I'm trying to figure out, trying to put the tape on there. And I didn't do this quite the same as I did the one side, which I guess I should have done it the same, but I didn't. And then when I put the tape on here, I realized that when I went to put it on the flap, the tabs would be facing each other, and I really wanted them opposite, so then I had to bend under that tape and then tape it down and then put, tape on the outside. So I should have done it where I put tape on the outside first and then the tape on the inside. But in any case, I mean, it worked out okay. But like I said, after I did that, I was like, so the other piece, what am I going to do with it? And here I decided I was going to need to have some kind of closure to hold these closed so that when I open and close the outer flaps, those don't like kind of just fall open. And I found these little brads that had letters on them, and I thought, well, those will work. I could just put those on there and then somehow, have some kind of a string that can wrap around the brad, so that would work as a closure on here. So I did that. And then here's where I was like trying to figure out, do I want to put this here and make it a pocket, or put it on the inside and have another flap? And what I ended up deciding to do is going ahead and adding it to the outside and making it into a pocket. So here I'm just, I guess here I was still trying to figure out what I want to do. So anyway, what I end up doing is making these into pockets. So I end up taking the tape, if I ever get it going. Oh, I wanted to put a little piece of tape over the back side of that brad so that as I put, papers or whatever in the pocket, it doesn't get, caught on that. And then I tape that down, and then I put tape on either side so that I could tape that together with the other piece of the folder. So that way, see, I've got a nice little pocket there. So I decided to do the same on the other side. So that way, on those outer flaps, now we've got two more flaps that have that's got a pocket. And so I taped on the one down on the other side, and then I put tape on either end of that so that I have another pocket on that side as well. And I'm just trimming off, I guess I had a little bit of excess tape there. And I'm putting tape on either end to close that in so that way I have a pocket on that side as well. So there I have a pocket. And I forgot to put the tape on the back side of the brad inside that pocket, so that's what I was doing there. So then I decided to do two more folders. I cut them down and taped them all up, ahead of time this time, and decided I wanted to tape those inside so that way I have two more flaps on the inside that also have pockets. So I did that with these file folders. I ended up putting them on the inside. So then that way we actually have three flaps. We have the cardboard flap that's the outside of the book, and then we've got an outside pocket flap made from these file folders, and then inside pocket flaps made from the file folders. So here I'm taping that down. I'm making sure that I can still bend the page and it's not binding up on me. And I do the same on the other side. I try to get that into the crease, but then again, making sure that it doesn't interfere with those side pockets opening and closing, because I want to make sure that I can still open and close those side pockets without them or those side flaps without it getting all bound up. And so there we go. I've got like three flaps now on either side. So then, now that I get that done, I go through and try to figure out what I'm going to add to the inside, what more am I going to add, and I have a whole bunch of envelopes that I've been stashing away. So here I decided to stack four of these on top of each other, and I just cut off the flap that closes them. So that way it can be like four pockets on top of each other. And here I got the glue a little too far up on the envelope, and I don't want it to, glue my whole thing shut. So then I decided, well, I need to add glue to the back side of them then, not to the front, so that way I don't, put too much glue on there. So here I'm gluing the rest of them together. And I'm using a glue stick, but it's a heavy bond glue stick. It's not just a regular glue stick, so that way it's got a stronger hold. And so there you have three pockets. And then on either side, I found these envelopes that had a cellophane front. And so again, I cut the flap off, and then I'm gluing those down. So I've got those pockets on the side where you can put stuff in there and see what's in there. And for this one, I decided I have this washi tape. Like the whole theme, like the paper that I used for the covers, kind of, you know, like postal. And so then I have this washi tape that's got like postal stamps and images and stuff on it. So I ended up, making this whole thing kind of like, a postal kind of lap book. So here I'm decided to decorate that pocket a little more with this washi tape and put that around that that pocket, and then on these three envelopes here, which I'm going to leave the flaps on and then stack them, I decided to use the washi tape to go around the edge of the flap to decorate those up a little bit to kind of go with, the theme and, the washi tape that I put on the around the other side. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just showing you. I'm kind of putting it on halfway and then folding it over and then trimming it on the end so that it doesn't interfere with, of course, the flap opening and closing, or the and it's not sticking off the edge. So that's what I'm doing there. So I end up doing that to all three of them, and I skipped over like showing you, me doing all three of them. So you'll see that here in a minute. I'm just trimming it. So here I got them all three done, and then I used my glue stick to again stack them on top of each other. Yep, got a little too much glue there, so powder works wonders, and put glue on the back and glue that to that, and then glue the whole, put glue over the whole back of it, and then glue that down to that side of the flap. And this is on the outside of the flap. So I got that glued down, and then I have another envelope, and see there's 3 more pockets with the flaps on there. And then I have this other envelope. I didn't have one with the full cellophane. It's just a half cellophane, but you know, that's good. So glue that one down. So I have another pocket on that side. So here I have now a whole bunch of pockets on either side. So on the inside of this, of the lap book, I ended up using a couple more envelopes on the inside, and then I had these cellophane envelopes. They're too wide, but I decided that I really liked really thought they were cute, and so I just cut them off. I'm like, well, all I want is just the cellophane part. So I cut them off, and then I used my, and I cut off the flaps, because I don't need the flaps. I'm just gonna have, make these into pockets, and then I use my packing tape here, as you see, to tape the other end shut, so that way I have a pocket. So that I can make a pocket out of these 4 envelopes to put on the sides. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just making them all into pockets. So now that I've got them all made into pockets, I took the other side and I decided to make those into pockets as well to put with these 2 envelopes. And I also trimmed these envelopes, the flaps on these 2 envelopes out with the same washi tape, so you can see that they have the same washi tape on them. And here I'm kind of gluing the flap on the back because the way that it had a severe V down, then it was going to leave like a gap or whatever. So I didn't want that, so I wanted it to be straight. So that's what I was doing there. And then I put the tape on there to tape them shut on one side. Excuse my clock. Of course it's going to ring when I'm narrating, it always does. And so I have 2 more pockets there. And then what I do is I take the couple of more pieces that I had cut off, and here I'm cutting a little piece off of that one, but I also take this other piece that I cut off and I cut 2 more smaller pockets, but these I wanted them to be like, I wanted the flaps to stay on there. So here I'm just kind of cutting the flap at an angle and then rounding it so that it looks like, you know, it looks the same on both sides. So that's what I'm doing here. I just cut it at an angle and then using a corner rounder to round that one corner. And then I put tape on the one side to, of course, tape it shut. So that way I've got these little smaller pockets to put on the inside here. So I did that to both of those. And I do have a third video where once I, get all this done, then I actually go through and start really decorating it up. So I hope you guys come back for the third video on decorating, this up, and finishing it off. So I use the same glue stick, and I'm just now gluing down all of these pockets that I've created, and where on the locations, the areas that I wanted them to be on. So I'm gluing everything down with the glue sticks. I'm trying to think. Oh yes, I have a few more pockets and envelopes that I decide to add to this. I don't know. I know my camera shut off, so I don't know if I actually recorded all of it. But if you come back for the third video on decorating it, then you'll see all the different pockets and stuff that were added to this. So anyway, I thank you guys for stopping by and watching, and talk to you again next time. Thanks for stopping by and watching. Bye-bye.